Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Say Sam where you're from and we'll get started in like seconds. We'll get started in how long? 30 seconds. It's going to be a quick one today. We've got a class to teach very soon. So I'll give you a moment to check in. Once people start saying salams, then we'll begin. Hamna says, let's say 5 salams, old school style, 5 salams. Hamna alaikum assalam, David alaikum assalam, Nimro alaikum assalam, and Muhammad Ahmed. Let's get started. Take 1. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa la amma ba'd. Welcome to today's shortened episode of Taraweeh Truffles. Today is day 16 of Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept what we have done so far, and may Allah Azza wa Jal give us good life and good du'as and good ibadah in the upcoming days. Ameen. Today's surah, or today's ayah that we're going to be talking about is in Surah Maryam, ayah number 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Zakariya AS. قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says about Zakariya and what he said, قال ربي, he said, oh my Lord, إني وهن العظم. So he starts explaining his situation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-'azm are the bones. وهن العظم is my bones have become weakened. واشتعل الرأس شيبا, and my head has filled with white hair. وَلَمْ أَكُنْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا, and never have I ever been displeased in my dua to you, O my Lord, displeased or unhappy. So let's look at, I'll translate it again. That's the translation that we get from the English translation. قَالَ, he said, رَبِّي إِنِّي وَهَنَ الْعَظْمُ. So he's complaining his situation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, complaining not in a bad way, but as we'll see in a second, it's a tawassul. It's coming closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by showing the weakness that he's in. He says that his bones have become weak, and it's a kinaya, as you will, that for his old age, his bones have become weak, meaning that his body has become weak. His hair, ishta'ala ra'su shayba, that it's ignited like a forest fire with a spark. It's ignited in white hair, so his hair has become white. Also externally, internally, he's weak. Internally, externally, he's become old. And then he says, I've never been unhappy with making dua to you, O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this ayah, we actually learned some etiquettes of making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the etiquettes of Zakariya alayhi salam. So first off, what he's actually preparing to do, as you'll see in the next verses, we're not going to bring it up here, but he's going to ask Allah for a child, even though he's in his old age, a child that would inherit from him. And then he starts off by presenting his weakness to Allah, His weakness, when we have been teaching in our visionary class, and we're talking a lot about dua, one of the main blocks people have when they want to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is they find that they're not able to do something. So they'll say, I want to make dua for it, but how is it possible? I want to make dua for this, but you know what? There's no way that can happen. I don't have time. This isn't going to work. So they focus on their weakness. But see here, Zakariya alayhi salam does focus on his weakness, but that doesn't turn him away from dua. He actually brings it forward in his dua that, oh Allah, this is my weakness. I am weak. My bones are weak. My hair is ignited in white, and he's become old, but he's never displeased with his Lord's dua. I used to, there was one year when I was preparing my duas for Ramadan, and I wanted to research what did the prophets, alayhim assalam, make dua for? Or what did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make dua for from the dunya? So we know a lot of the akhirah type of du'as, but what did they make dua for from the dunya? And the oft recurring, you'll see this as a pattern and a theme throughout the Quran and the Sunnah, is dua for a child. From the dunya is making dua for a child. The story of Zakariya, the story of Maryam, and Nuh alayhi salam with his son, and on and on. Musa, his mother, putting in the river, in the basket. There's a lot of that theme of making dua for a child. You'll see that Zakariya AS is also presenting his weakness as a tawassul. Tawassul is trying to accelerate and come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in one's dua. And so Zakariya AS does this. He presents his weakness, which is also an etiquette that we learn, is that when we raise our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're not complaining. I think that word in English means like somebody's displeased with Allah when they're complaining, but rather it's expressing or showing Allah that I am weak and I've never been unhappy by making dua to you. So it's not a complaining and I'm angry. It's a complaining and I love you, O Allah. Or it's an expression of this is how weak I am and there's no power that I have, and that's why I'm turning to your power, O Allah. And when somebody's power and you realize that you don't have any way to get this dua done or it's out of your control, the power of that is in knowing that all power is in Allah's hands. There's something really beautiful about this verse as well, is the last part, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا, and with my dua to you, O my Lord, I've never been displeased or I've never been unhappy. There's two things I'd like to bring up and we'll finish it with there. Number one is, I said you come closer to Allah by showing the weakness of your situation. Tawassul, wasala is to come closer to Allah with your weakness, but you'll also see that Zakariya is praising Allah because Allah has always been kind to Zakariya and answering his dua in the past. So he's saying, I've always been pleased and you've always taken care of me when I made dua to you, O Allah. That's what I've never been displeased in my dua to you, O Allah. And this last reflection that I have is not from the tafsir books. It's my own reflection. And it's all these other things that I mentioned to you, these are like from the books of tafsir. This last point that I want to mention to you is my own reflection. And it may be wrong, it may be right, but I'm just giving you that caveat. So here we go. This is my final reflection on this one. Zakariya alayhi says, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّي شَقِيًّا, which is a negation. He said, I've never been displeased with my dua to you, O Allah. And the opposite could have been true. The opposite could have been said. The opposite could have been, I've always been pleased when I made dua to you, O Allah. But Zakariya alayhi says, I've never been displeased with my dua to you, O Allah. And I thought about this, the negation, what's the difference between the two? Wallahu alam, this is just on my own personal reflection, is that sometimes we think that we're only going to be happy when we get what we make dua for. And sometimes what we're making dua for isn't good for us, or the time's not right. And a lot of the prophets, like Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they make dua and like 10 years later, the dua is manifests in maybe the Battle of Badr, even though the Prophet ﷺ made this dua in Mecca 10 years earlier. So it's not that these prophets, they made dua and then every time they made dua, something happens. But they were never displeased in how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answered their dua. So it's not that, oh, I was happy with everything that came by, but it's an opposite effect, which is, oh Allah, even if this dua gets delayed, oh Allah, if you have something better for me, I've never been displeased when I made dua to you, oh Allah, which is like a higher level of respect and honor in one's relationship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Zakariya had said something like, every time I make dua, actually, let's not go there. We're done. Jazakallah khair. I have a class to teach, and it's coming up very soon. I'd like to say salam to all of you guys, and we'll see you all later, inshallah ta'ala. The class, for those who are not taking Visionaire with me, the class is today and tomorrow, and then we're done Visionaire. So inshallah ta'ala, we'll go back to regular Tarawih travel length, but for now it's just some short reminder. Tomorrow, short reminder, and then we're back to normal. All right, Jazakallah khair, and take care. Assalamu alaikum. Bye. Bye.